Welcome to the Wingate Advantage with Brandon Wingate, your weekly source for smart insights on real estate, business, investing, and building wealth right here in Middle Tennessee. Now here's your host, Brandon Wingate.
What is going on, guys? This is Brandon Wingate, and this is the Wingate Advantage. I'm the owner-broker again of the Wingate Group real estate firm, McMinnville, Tennessee. And to remind everybody, I am a licensed contractor, and I have been investing in residential and commercial real estate since 2008. So when I bring you the content, it's coming from experience. Real quick, I want to highlight, and I'll be doing this on a lot of the episodes that I have, and these episodes they stretch across YouTube, Facebook, everything. So I want to highlight these properties each time. And the first property is 885 Junior Witt Road, Rock Island, Tennessee. That property is a Clayton modular home on a solid foundation, which opens us up to FHA, VA loans, all kinds of loans options. This thing is finished out. It is brand new. It is warranted. I've got nice landscaping out there. I personally own this property, but Jacqueline LaDuke, she has it advertised and listed for me. But this is E-rated, so your electric bills and utilities and things are going to be super low. Anyway, this is an incredible property, incredible opportunity. Why am I saying that? Because right now, I'm letting everybody know this thing's priced at $239, but as of right now, when you're hearing this, Jacqueline, she doesn't even know, so you guys are hearing this for the first time. Reduce this property by $10,000, $229 as of today, and I'm offering $7,500 towards closing costs on top of that. So let me tell you, this is a beautiful property. It's almost 3/4 of an acre. Beautiful view of the countryside, close to Rocky River. Really, you guys need to check this out, and this is an incredible opportunity. Like I said, you're hearing it for the first time over the radio, wherever you're listening. I'm reducing that by $10,000, and I'm offering $7,500 in closing costs. Give us a call, 931-474-2500, and I'll get you in contact with Jacqueline. The next opportunity is I have a lot of commercial property, so I do have some opportunities. If you are a nail tech, you have a salon or you're a beautician, even if you're looking for some office space, I have some opportunities coming up. Great location, window front, super busy, high foot traffic building. It's right there on top of the bowling alley here in McMinnville, the Garden City Plaza. And I have a unit opening up there, and so won't be until August, but that will be available. And on episode 2 last week, I advertised one being leased or for lease downtown. It's already leased. These things go fast, so if you're interested, again, give me a call to the brokerage, 931-474-2500. Okay. Today, I have something very, very important to talk about. If you never invested in a property, if you never invested in your stock or your retirement or anything like that, and you're one of the good old guys, like many of us are, or gals, when I say guys, by the way, I'm talking to everybody, just so you know. If you believe in just hard work, gritting it out, paying the bills, moving forward, this is a very important subject for you guys. It's something that you really, really need to understand. And understand that the system that we're in, it's broken, all right, for us. So what I mean by that is this system is actually programmed to break you over time. It's programmed to slowly do this, where you barely notice it until you're years down the road, and then you find yourself having a hard time financially. And this steals your time, it steals your money, and can actually also steal a lot of your joy and happiness in life overall. And so if you don't know what this is and how this works, then you are having a harder life than you really need to have. And we're going to go over how this works. We're going to go over how we can overcome this. As soon as I come back after this ad, I'll let you know what it is, and I'll start showing you what's happening and how we can get past it. Talk to you soon.
Hi, I'm Mason Nova with the Wingate Group, LLC, your local real estate resource here in East Tennessee. Whether you're looking in Knoxville, Gatlinburg, or anywhere in between, I'm here to guide you through every step. You can reach our office at 931-474-2500, or you can contact me directly at 270-564-9117. Let's navigate your next move together.
At T&Z, there is no job too big nor too small. We do it all. Got some trees down? Or some land needing some attention? We do that. Got an eyesore on the property and want it handled with extreme prejudice? We can do that too. Even if it's just some stuff you need to go to the dump. Yep, you guessed it. We do that too. Give us a call. Believe it, we do it all. Call us at 931-743-9079 or 931-224-8593.
Savage Samurai Martial Arts, in affiliation with Team Legacy, have opened up the doors to offer a 2-week free all-inclusive kids class. We are located at 1030 Smithville Highway. Find us on the web at www.savagesamuraimartialarts.com.
Follow me. Your journey begins now at Savage Samurai Martial Arts.
All right. Now, let's get to it. All right. I'm going to show you what this is, how to beat it, and advice, okay, from someone that has recognized this, studied this, and actually done things to try to beat this system that we're in, okay? And for the most part, I've been pretty successful. It took a little while, learning this stuff the ground up. Because as you know from episode 1, if you've listened to that, I wasn't born with a silver spoon, okay? So there were things that happened in my life where I had to truly build this from the ground up, find all this out myself, study this stuff myself. And so here I am today, and we're going over these things to help better the community around us, better Tennessee overall. And I want to start with the ancient book that I talk about, all right? So this particular message that pertains to what we're talking about, and will every time, is from a king in this ancient book. And his name was Solomon, all right? This king was the wisest. God gave him wisdom because he was concerned. He had a heart for his people. He wanted them to prosper. He wanted who he was over as king. He wanted those people to prosper. And God saw this and gave him an abundance of wisdom. And with that came an abundance of riches as well. So this king is speaking to us from 3,000 years ago approximately. And listen to what he says. Now, you need to be all ears on this because, seriously, this guy has got the experience, and it's crazy how we can reread this stuff. The plans of the diligent. Now, let me repeat that and focus on the plans, all right? It's not just the diligent. The diligent has made plans, all right? The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Not accidentally, not because they were lucky, but their plans and being diligent surely led to abundance. But everyone, I'm going to repeat that, everyone, this is what he's saying, who is hasty, another word meaning hasty is impatient, comes only to poverty. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty or impatient comes only to poverty. So, I'm going to show you a few things, all right? And if you're just listening on the radio, I'm sorry. You should be going to my YouTube channel, The Wingate Advantage, seeing this on YouTube, or it's also on Facebook. You need to like and follow and watch because there's going to be some things you miss if you're just on the radio. So, I've got a $100 bill from Monopoly, okay? All right. I've got a true Benjamin $100 bill, okay? This is the money we use every single day. And I also have something that's actually rarely seen, complimentary of money metals. This right here is a full 1 ounce, 100% gold bar, 1 ounce bar of gold. All right. Now, I've got a few questions for everyone. And these questions are meant to be answered by you sitting here right now listening to this. And towards the end of this program, we're going to review these questions and let's just see how well you did answering these questions if you did them correctly. And we're talking about what I just showed you. The Monopoly money, the $100 bill, the ounce of gold. First question, which one is something real and valuable? Okay, which one is something real and valuable? Second question, which one can make you the most money? If you use it right, if you learn about it and how it works, which one can make you the most money? Number 3, which one does not lose value when we face inflation? Does everyone know what inflation is? Some might not. Inflation, short answer, is the devaluing. Basically, things get more expensive. Okay, why? Do we know why they get more expensive? It is because inflation, all right? It takes more dollars to buy something. So which one does not lose value when we face inflation? And the fourth one, which one can work the hardest for you? Which one can work the hardest for you? When we come back, we will start learning about these items. We will start learning, hopefully, the answers to these questions. And when we double back at the end, we will see if you know the answers or maybe even change your mind on what the answer is. Talk to you soon. Hello, I'm Brandon Wingate with the Wingate Group, real estate firm, McMinnville, Tennessee. I wanted to come to you today to let you know that there is a brokerage out there built for the success of agents. Are you tired of giving away a lot of your commission, hard-earned commission, when you're doing all you can to serve your clients? Well, we want you at our brokerage because I'm here to help you succeed. We have a 100% commission structure. We have an awesome brokerage. We have the Wingate Advantage radio show and podcast, which is generating leads and business like crazy. And I want to hand this off to you. I want to help you succeed. And you really need to give a call to the Wingate Group, 931-474-2500. And let's talk about what we have. Check out the brokerage. And I believe you're going to love it. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
It's Insecto Exterminators! Bug out, guys!
Got some unwanted guests in or around your home?
You can have this house! It's got Insecto Exterminators for protection!
Call Insecto Exterminators today.
Insecto Exterminators has got you covered. Local professional service you can trust.
All right. Let's get back to it. So, the point I want to make, okay, after these questions. Everything around you, the system that we're in, okay, everything around you, everything that pretty much we're driving, that we touch, that we do, going back and forth to work, there's reasons behind that. It's because the system that we're in is designed, programmed to take your money, to take your time. And right now, most all of us are trading our time for that money. So the problem is, if we're walking around, this is a scenario I like to give. Life, as far as your finances and money, is very similar to carrying a bucket with holes in it and you're trying to hold water, all right? We've got chickens at home, all right? And we got a barn that's, 50 yards away from the house. If my boys filled the 5-gallon bucket up with water and from the house carried it to the barn and it had 10 holes in the bottom of it, how much water would be in there by the time they got there? Pretty much nothing. And that trip from the house to the barn represents a day with us, okay, as we're going throughout the day. All right, we've got bills, mortgages to pay. We've got repairs to make, tires to put on the car, oil changes, gas to put in the vehicle. Now, those things we can't hardly help. But we've got all the other expenses as well, all right? All these things that attract us, entice us to spend extra money that maybe we shouldn't be spending. Coffees, eating out, all these different, fun things that we want to do. But the problem is we don't realize that it's costing us so much. And by the time we do realize it, maybe it's a little later than we want it to be. Maybe it hits us around 45 years old. We're like, oh, man, it's drudgery at this point. I got to figure something else out. This is not working. Because when we're in our 20s, it's very easy. We got all this energy. We're fresh. We're excited about our jobs and all. And very few people teach finance. Very few families talk about finance. They don't teach this in schools. So when our teenagers are getting out of school, when we've gotten out of school in the past, we weren't taught about this stuff. We barely knew how to write a check. Our parents had to show us how to write a check. Schools didn't teach it. So, we are not taught about life and expenses, how money works. And let me just ask you this. Do we think that might be on purpose? So, this is designed to take your time. It's designed to take your money. And once it takes your money and your wallet gets low, your banking account gets low, what do? We got to go clock back in. All right. We don't have a choice. We got to clock back in, work the 8-hour day, work the 10-hour day. Some people work a 16-hour day to make ends meet. Why? Because this system is taking our money every time, all day, as we sleep, when we are on vacation. Yeah, we might get paid from the job, but even then, this system is constantly taking this, all right, taking our money. And on top of that, the most valuable part of the whole thing is our time with our children, our time with our family, our loved ones, time to do what we want to do. I mean, I know a lot of us don't want to necessarily clock in and out every single day. There are other things that we'd like to be doing. And, hopefully one day you'll be able to do that. But right now we're trading time for money to feed this beast of a system. So if you're lucky, all right, by the time you're like, well, I've got my retirement set up, I'm going to get Social Security. Hopefully you will. Or you got a pension or something like that. But the thing is, if you're lucky, we're all still alive at 65, 70 years old. If you're lucky, you're in good health at 65, 70 years old. Hopefully you hadn't had a few back surgeries, knee surgeries, whatever, because the job is breaking you down. All right. And that's when in our 40s, we start realizing maybe we should do something else. Man, I've had one too many surgeries. All right. It's because this clock in, clock out, this job, this drudgery that we have to do in order to make it. It's because of the system we're in. Once you retire, hey, it's good to spend time with your grandkids. And you're super excited to do that. Why are grandparents super excited? Because most of the time it's time to make up for time lost that they didn't necessarily have with their kids because they were working so much. So now they get to make up for it, and they then experience that joy of grandkids because they have their time, finally, and hopefully their health. So let's first talk about that $100 bill, which is the monopoly money, all right? Something I want to point out. Now, we play this game at home a lot. Why do I do that? And I want to make sure my boys know how to play this game. And I want to point this out, all right? So here I've got two properties, all right? I've got Baltic Avenue, which is the brown, if you're familiar with this game. And here it is, Baltic Avenue, all right? And as you'll notice, the rents are cheap. So you develop these properties in the game. You get 1, 2, 3, or 4 houses on there, and rent increases as you get these houses. Of course, you got to spend money to get the houses. You got to spend money in the game to develop these properties. And so for Baltic Avenue, it's the cheapest of the cheap, all right? One house, $20 rent when somebody lands on it. So on and so on. 4 houses, hotel. All right, hotel, the best you can get, the most you can get, $450 when somebody lands on it. But it's the easiest to develop. Why is that? Because a house only costs $50. All right. Now, the other one, Boardwalk, baby, Boardwalk. So the point of Boardwalk, if you can see this up close, all right, sorry to the guys on the radio. Come follow the channel. You'll see what I'm talking about. Boardwalk, One house, $200 in rent when somebody lands on it. You make it all the way and you develop it all the way to a hotel. When somebody lands on it, you probably bankrupt them, all right? $2,000 of their monopoly money if they land on it. Now, this property is one of the hardest to develop because each home you put on there is $200, all right? So, in my opinion, this rings true. When people talk about location, all right, a lot of times when they're bragging about that location, that's similar to a boardwalk property. It probably cost them a lot more money to buy. Probably cost them a lot more money to develop and fix and things like this. But if they actually get it there and spend the time and patience and everything to get it there in real life, buddy, they can pay off. Now, the same thing for Baltic Avenue. Cheaper properties, cheaper location, rents lower, development's lower. That pretty well rings true even in the real estate world, okay? And that's one thing I like about that as far as real estate goes, all right? But about life, all right? I'm going to read off a few of these cards here. And you guys just let me know, if you hadn't realized it before, how similar this game is to true life. And I actually think this is an old game. So somebody put a lot of thought into it. All right, get out of jail free. Boy, wouldn't we love to have that, some of us. But sometimes we end up finding ourselves in that position. Advanced to the nearest railroad. If owned, you may buy it from the bank, a bank-owned railroad, just like bank-owned properties, all right? You can do the same at banks. They have foreclosures, things like this. This is what this is representing. You have been elected chairman of the board. Pay each player $50. Well, that sucks. But you're in politics. Sometimes, they pay the price for sure. All right. Advance to the next railroad. Pay the owner twice the rent if it's owned. All right. Your building loan matures. Collect $150. Sometimes the banks are working for you, and sometimes that pays off. Then there is times where you land on jail, and it comes down to a roll of the dice, all right? We find ourselves in real life, let's just say this is the moment when we break a bone. We have an accident. This is the moment when we forgot to pay a bill, now we have a late fee. This is the moment that something happened out of our control and it really messed up our lives, all right? And it's out of our control, just like this roll of dice, all right? So this Monopoly game, I want to explain, if played right, can really, and if you focus and play this thing seriously, this can teach us about life. This can teach us about money and investing. So when we're talking about these properties here, for instance, and this Monopoly money, if you take this $100 bill Monopoly and you're one of those that says, oh, I'm just going to save my money, I'm going to set it to the side, and when you get on a property, let's just say it's boardwalk, you think, oh, no, I don't want to spend that money, because if I bought this boardwalk, I think the boardwalk is $350 if I remember right, just to purchase it. You're like, nope, I'm not going to spend that money. I'm going to keep that money. Put the money away. And then you land on these small rolls of dice, and it chips away at you. Somebody buys a railroad. Somebody buys another property. You end up paying them $16 in rent. The next thing you know, you pay them $50 in rent. Next thing you know, you pay them $1,000 in rent. But you decided to stash away the money and be conservative with it and not buy anything. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to be the first one out of the game. You go broke because all the developers, they've created the system. This is the system in the game. You do nothing with your money. You save your money, it's slowly taken from you. Now, how do you win the game? You got to invest, invest, invest. Let me say it again. Invest. Because if you don't, everybody else is going to, and you don't have a chance of winning the game. So when we come back, we'll talk more about that, and we will talk to you again soon.
Come with me for a moment and let's talk about your dream. For some, it's a home filled with family, maybe a front porch to gather at the end of the day. For others, it's finding that perfect piece of land for their dream home, a quiet place in the country. How about those with a dream to open a business, maybe on Main Street? I'm Jacqueline LeDuc with the Wingate Group, and I love helping people find those places where dreams can grow. So when it's time for your next chapter, whether you're buying, selling, or simply exploring possibilities, I hope you'll consider me. I'll take care of the details so you can focus on making your dreams a reality. I'm Jacqueline LeDuc with the Wingate Group. Call me at 931-259-6138 or at our office, 931-474-2500. Together, we can write your next chapter.
At T&Z, there is no job too big nor too small. We do it all. Got some trees down? Or some land needing some attention? We do that. Got an eyesore on the property? And want it handled with extreme prejudice? We can do that too. Even if it's just some stuff you need to go to the dump. Yep, you guessed it. We do that too. Give us a call. Believe it, we do it all. Call us at 931-743-9079 or 931-224-8593.
Savage Samurai Martial Arts, in affiliation with Team Legacy, have opened up the doors to offer a 2-week free all-inclusive kids class. We are located at 1030 Smithville Highway. Find us on the web at www.savagesamuraimartialarts.com.
Follow me. Your journey begins now at Savage Samurai Martial Arts.
All right. Welcome back. All right. So we said, how do you win that game? How do you lose the game? Don't develop. Save your money. Try to make it. Maybe you pass go a couple times, get another $200 here and there. Feel a little bit better. Very similar to a paycheck you just got every 2 weeks. Hey, there's my paycheck. Whew, I can pay some more bills. Becomes to the end of that 2 weeks, you're definitely ready for the next paycheck. You're like, man, I'm not going to make these bills. Every time you get that paycheck is like you pass go in the game, all right? But you barely survive. Barely survive. Why? Because you're not putting back anything. You're not reinvesting anything. And I'm going to tell you why this is so important, all right? I'm not getting you in trouble. I'm not scolding you. I am hopefully enlightening you on what's going on here. So you win the game by investing. There's only one way to do that. All right. So that's the monopoly money side. It can teach you tremendous things about life and investing and how this whole rat race that we're in works, okay? Because that's what you're running around. You're running around that board over and over and over and over again. That's the rat race, all right? So let's learn about this $100 bill, the real money, right? The real money. So the dollar is fiat money. If you don't know what fiat means, let me tell you what that means, all right? The government issued money that is not backed by anything, all right? is not backed by anything physical, such as gold, silver, commodities, no hard assets, nothing, all right? So when I say hard assets, for instance, real estate, your home, rental houses, commercial property, land, those are all considered hard assets. It can even be collectible things, to tell you the truth. Like you say, a highly collectible card that gains value over time. You remember, asset puts money in your pocket, gains value. Liabilities do not, all right? So we're talking things that gain value, typically, all right? So government issued. Focus on that for a second. I think that sounds familiar. Government issued. What else is government issued? Food stamps, things like that, all right? And sometimes we have needed those in our past. We haven't felt good about it, but we did. That's government issued. So this is actually along the same lines here. That dollar bill in your wallet, think about it, is government issued, all right? And it's fiat money, meaning it is not backed by anything silver, no gold, no silver, nothing, okay? Its value comes from public trust and the trust in the government in which you are in. Doesn't matter which country, okay? It comes from public trust and the government trust that you are in. That is our currency. That is fiat. Literally backed by nothing. Government issued. Our government tells us, hey, this is worth something. Trust us. But it wasn't always that way, okay? At one point in time, our money was backed by gold. And you might be running across your mind, what about Fort Knox? We got gold in Fort Knox. Maybe. I don't know, do we? That's a whole nother subject there. But anyway, so that gold at Fort Knox is for our country. It's not to back our currency, okay? So when we were on the gold standard, which is what that's called, when our currency was backed by gold, at one point in time it was real money at that point in time, okay? You could literally turn it in for gold, all right? That was on the gold standard. So it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always fiat money. It wasn't always fake money. Very similar, matter of fact. I'm going to hurl up both of these. All right, these two are very, very similar. The monopoly money, $100 bill, and our $100 bill is in our wallet. Very, very close to the same thing. All right, the game gives it value. Our government gives the other one value. This is the way I see it. All right, you can disagree with me. I'm okay with that. Okay, but this is the way I see it. This is the way I've learned it. This is the way I use it. All right. So basically, to me, all right, I'm gonna tell you a little inside secret. That $100 bill, yeah, I can buy some things with it, but I don't care about it. Okay, I don't hoard it. That's not what I'm wanting to stack. That's not what I'm wanting to collect. A lot of people think, oh, that's all you care about. Nope. Actually, you're dead wrong. Okay? And you'll see why. All right? So, previous to March of 1971, we were on the gold standard. Actually, March of 71, we were taken off the gold standard. All right? And so, get this. At that point in time, the price of gold was $35 an ounce. It was set at that by our own government. $35 per 1 ounce of gold. This 1 ounce of gold here I'm holding, in 1971, I could only get $35 for it. Or you could literally take your $35 to the exchange. This is what the government was telling us at the time. You could take your $35 to the exchange and you could get your ounce of gold. Okay? But people didn't really focus on that as much. They were okay with it because, hey, they understood it's one and the same. Their money actually had value to them. It was like holding paper gold. When we come back, I am going to explain to you what else happened at March of 1971. Probably play you a clip as well of what was going on at that point in time. So we will be right back.
Anyone can unlock a door and show a property, but understanding a property's true value comes from real-world experience. I'm Joseph Anish with the Wingate Real Estate Firm. For more than 3 decades, I've worked hands-on with licensed contractors. I understand property maintenance, business ownership, commercial property leasing, and real estate investment. When you're buying or selling, you need someone who sees beyond the fresh coat of paint and nice landscaping. You need someone who understands how to structure your income potential as well as long-term value of your investment. As a Tennessee licensed realtor, I am someone you can trust with hands-on knowledge. While I'm not a contractor, engineer, or home inspector, my experience helps me identify key features that buyers may want to investigate further with. A licensed professional inspector. Whether you're looking for a home, land, investment property, or commercial real estate, call Joseph Anish with the Wingate Real Estate Firm, 474-2500 or 607-3231. Real advice backed by a lifetime of experience.
It's Insecto Exterminators! Bug out, guys!
Got some unwanted guests in or around your home?
You can have this house! It's got Insecto Exterminators for protection!
Call Insecto Exterminators today.
Insecto Exterminators has got you covered. Local professional service you can trust.
Okay, welcome back again. All right. So at the time, to recap real quick, $35 per ounce. That's what the government said on it. You could literally turn your money back in to gold at the exchange and get your gold. People wasn't worried about it. People were confident about their money. Okay, things were actually very settled and calm to do with their money. They didn't experience a whole lot of inflation and things like this because that gold set a value, and the government really couldn't do anything about that at that point. Okay, gold is steady, a steady value. So, but all right, there was a problem. Guess what? We didn't have the gold that we said we did. And they started issuing too many dollars and the government realized they couldn't back the money up with the amount of gold they had. So they literally ran out of money. And at that time, it was real money. So what happened? We were taken off. We were taken off the gold standard because we didn't have the gold to exchange for the dollars. The U.S. had wrote too many paper checks. And these are checks, basically, essentially, all right? Too many checks. And didn't have the gold to back it up. As people learned and turned in their checks and starting to go get their gold, it became apparent, because they started getting turned down, it became apparent that the U.S. could not keep this going. They could not keep their promise. Now, keep that in mind. Whenever we looked back and I said, what is fiat money? What's it depend on? It depends on the people's confidence and the promise of the government and the confidence in the government. All right? So here we are. The government couldn't keep their promise. So people holding the dollars realized this and rushed into the exchange of gold. And this was creating a panic almost, all right? They started realizing this, and they were like, we want our gold. We want that exchange, all right? So Nixon, at the time, President Nixon, realizing that the U.S. was about to run out of real money, Nixon went on TV to let the world know that the U.S. was breaking its promise to the exchange for gold. Of course, he was a politician, all right? So it didn't exactly sound that bad. But if you read between the lines, it actually was. It's exactly what was happening. So let me play this clip for you, and you can hear this in 1971, March of 1971, this actually happening. This was the moment people were panicking, doing a bank run, and realizing in other countries that were actually dependent on the dollar were also realizing they weren't getting what they told they could get. So here's Nixon with the clip from back then.
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States. Now, what is this action, which is very technical, what does it mean for you? Let me lay to rest the bugaboo of what is called devaluation. If you want to buy a foreign car or take a trip abroad, market conditions may cause your dollar to buy slightly less. But if you are among the overwhelming majority of Americans who buy American-made products in America, your dollar will be worth just as much tomorrow as it is today. The effect of this action, in other words, will be to stabilize the dollar.
That point that I was talking about has to do with our dollar. We learned about the difference between fiat and actually being on the gold standard, okay? Fiat means backed by nothing. You got to have confidence in your government. You got to have confidence in your own money. Being backed by gold standard, you can literally turn in your dollars or whatever your currency is for the gold, and the government sets that amount. Monopoly money, that is a learning tool, all right? Playing that game, taking it seriously and realizing it's a lot life, okay? That is a tool. Now, we're going to talk about we're going to hit on a little bit more of a hard asset, okay? Assets, things that increase in value for us, and what that kind of looks like and what happened here, okay? So we go off the gold standard. What do you think happened to the stock market at that time? I think a lot of you probably think, oh, it probably crashed. No, it did not. It went up immediately and ended up going up shortly after that by a total of 25% in a short period of time. Why is that? This is the first thing we need to understand. What is the stock market? All right. On the stock market, you can literally buy shares of gold. You can buy shares of currency. You can buy shares of silver. You buy shares of stock in companies. All right. Now, a company is an asset as well, if you're running it right, of course. You know, the successful companies gain in value. All right. So now let's take those shares on the stock market. Those shares on the stock market I want you to realize, are hard assets. You are owning a piece of a company, all right, literally. So when the money went off the gold standard, what happened? That was an inflation type scenario. All of a sudden, you release the dollar bill from the steadiness of the gold, and the dollar bill starts running wild, meaning it doesn't have an anchor, okay? So now all of a sudden, inflation means it takes more dollar bills to buy that asset. It takes more dollar bills to buy this 1 ounce of gold today than $35 back in 1971. Okay? It takes more money to buy that same share that people bought on the stock market. It takes more money to buy that back from them now. So that causes the stock market to go up in price. Did not crash. So now the dollar is not as valuable, off the gold standard. Stock market goes up. And before, didn't quite do this. Everything was stable. So basically what this did for the government, all right, and they kind of like this, all right. They love going off the gold standard. Doesn't hold them accountable anymore. So going off the gold standard allowed the U.S. to spend more than they earned, literally. Okay. So how do they do that? Where do they get the money? They freely print it from the Federal Reserve. So, Federal Reserve, I want to let you guys know. That's a tricky name. There's nothing about it that's federal. There's nothing about it that's reserve. They're a printing machine and they're a private company. They are not owned by the government. They actually have their own board, and they decide on how much money they're printing, how much money they're not printing, what interest rates might even be, things like this. They have control, and they're a private company. They are not part of the government, even though the government, our government, leans in heavily on their actions, and we do as well. But now the Federal Reserve can print or not print as they wish. All right, they have control over that. I'm making a point here for later. So, I'll show you a few examples here. Now, you're going to be blown away by the difference between 1971 assets and a particular asset compared to 2026 today. When we come back, I'll let you know what that is. Hello, I'm Brandon Wingate. I've got a question for you. Are you an agent that works for a brokerage and you just feel sometimes you're working hard, but the agency just takes a little too much of your money, or they're just not giving you a lot for what you're paying into them? Have you ever added that up and seen how much you did actually pay to the brokers during the whole year you were out there working hard, selling, and helping your clients? Well, I'm here to tell you there's a new way, and it's the Wingate Group, real estate firm, McMinnville, Tennessee. Why am I saying that? Because I'm here to tell you I'm creating an advantage for you, built for you, 100% commission structure. I want you to keep more of your check than you've ever had before. We've got training systems in place for new agents. We've got lead generation. We've got a great, beautiful brokerage that I welcome you to come see. Give me a call. Ask questions. And I know sometimes it's hard to move and make that choice. It's fear that might hold some back. But I want to eliminate that fear. Give me a call, 931-474-2500. And I'm Brandon Wingate with the Wingate Group, real estate firm, McMinnville, Tennessee. We're going to go back over those 4 questions real quick. Which one? Now we're talking about the $100 bill, monopoly money. We're talking about the $100 bill in your wallet, hopefully. And we're talking about the 1 ounce of gold, all right? Which one is something real and valuable? Which one can make you the most money if you learn how to do it? Which one does not lose value when we face inflations? Which one can work the hardest for you in the future? All right. So going back to 1971, $35 an ounce is what the government set it at. They released us from that. And now, if you're taking this same ounce of gold I've got right here, no longer is it $35 an ounce. It has averaged this month around $4,400 for just that 1 ounce. You can literally turn that in, sell that back, and get that amount of money. Right as we're recording this, it goes up and down a little bit because we have wars, we have things that strengthen the dollar a little bit. We, take over a country or whatever we're doing, oil and different stuff can strengthen the dollar and can actually make the dollar less valuable. So what has happened here recently, right now at this recording, gold is $4,145 per ounce, all right, even though it was at $4,400 just not too long ago. What happened recently? Recently, if you guys have been paying attention, and this is for the ones that's been waiting and waiting and waiting for the interest rate to go down, they decided they're not lowering the interest rate. That was their last decision. This is what everybody was hoping for. Guess what? They're also talking about the next 6 to 8 weeks, the interest rate might possibly even go up. If you go back to my first segment, towards the end of that, I answered a question, should we buy a house now or wait? And I said now. And the reason was I started talking about gold. I started talking about these things. I started talking about how much debt we're in as a country. And I said it would not make sense for the interest rate to go down. Buy now because you don't know what the future is going to do. Okay? And now is when it's a buyer's market. And I'm going to remind you of that. Right now is a buyer's market. There's a lot of homes, just like you heard me say earlier, homes that people want to sell, and they are giving deals, all right? So that same ounce of gold, over $4,000 an ounce, 1971, $35. Now, our money, this $100 bill, if you had that $100 bill, the same $100 bill that's in your wallet, hopefully, that I have here, could have bought a whole lot more in 1971. The total collapse of the dollar, get this, how much percentage do you think it's collapsed since then? 99%. 99%. Your dollar is worth 99% less than it was back in 1971. The purchasing power relative to the products we're paying for, okay, now this is another aspect of it. Your purchasing power when you go buy a pack of gum, we'll say, all right, when you go buy that Monopoly game to try to learn about how this works, your purchasing power is 88% less than it was from 1971 when we came off the gold standard. So, on top of that, we've ran wild with the printing press. The Federal Reserve. The national debt is over $34 trillion, okay? Every year, it is built in. Now, we came off the gold standard, all right? Every year, this is why I say, how do you lose the game? Don't buy nothing. Just try to save your money. Right now, I'm sorry, don't take this too hard. Hey, I'm proud of you if you've got money to save. A lot of us don't. But if you're disciplined and you do actually have money to save, you need to do something different with it than just save it. Because this system that has been engineered by getting off the gold standard. Now, who's doing the engineering? Okay, think about this for a minute. Who's doing the engineering? All right. This system that's been engineered, it is built to inflate, meaning less valuable, takes more money to buy an item, takes more money to buy that ounce of gold, takes more money to buy that food, okay? It's built and engineered to inflate, get less valuable by 3% every single year after year. Now, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're going to work, you're clocking in and out, you're the hard worker, you're gritting it, okay? You're providing for your family, which means you're trading all your time to go into this job, and you are just trying to make ends meet. But yet the system is geared and engineered to take 3% from you every single year. Now, I assume your job is giving you a 3% raise every single year. How many actually get that? Okay. Now, my point is being made, all right? Wages lag. That's just the way it is. Wages lag behind this 3% decrease, all right? And guess what the average has been? It's actually been 4%, 3.9% decrease in value since 1971. So you're losing 4% of your purchasing power every single year. On top of that, that just requires more work from you. Longer hours, longer time away, time. It's here to steal your time. That is the rat race. That is an engineered program. And unfortunately, that's what we're in. Now, give you a bit of good news. We can get out of it, all right? There's a way to get out of it. And I'm going to have an episode 2 of this episode, actually. The next week, we'll talk about how we can get out of this and learn more about our currency and how it works, what you can do to prepare and actually stop spending so much time fighting a system that you can't win against, typically, unless you learn, unless you're listening to this radio station, unless you're listening to my podcast on YouTube, Facebook. This is where you can learn and understand what's happening, what's going on, all right? Now, also, if you want to make great choices, all right, and you want great representation, don't forget to give us a call. I've got wonderful agents. I've got good deals out there that we can show you. Make smart purchases for your business, for your family. Give us a call at the Wingate Group Real Estate Firm, McMinnville, Tennessee. We can represent the entire state. I've got agents in East Tennessee. I've got agents in Middle Tennessee. We reach all over the place, all right? So give us a call, 931-474-2500, and we will see you next time with some good information.